So this will be our encyclopedia. What number 5? I just did number 4. That was the acoustical. The acoustical modification tape. That was number 4. This is number 5, and let's see if we can play with this a little bit. Now, if I want to, let's say I want to. What was that? Good grief, right? But I want to learn what actions cause what reactions. See. Action is a terrible thing if it's in the wrong place, and it's a great thing if it's in the right place. If I go, no, well, I made an action on my throat. See that? No, but I can still sing. Make that sort of artificial whatever. See? But if I do an action the other way, la 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 la, also blatty, white, ugly. I think my best chance is to not make an action any place in my throat. La 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 la. See? So if you approach this kind of stuff in terms of the action or reaction, or remember the third law of motion, a reaction is opposite equal reaction. So if I make an action, it's got to be a reaction that's good for me, healthy for me, and keeps my voice free. If it reacts in my throat, it's going to cut me off and I'm in trouble. And so you hear people literally modifying the throat and changing the throat. If you go something like that takes the pillars of the fauces, which are normally like this when you're asleep, and all of a sudden they go. Some people like to call that focus or something, but all you're doing is making your throat narrow. And Franco Corelli nearly had a fit in his master class that I watched, because he said he's American singing, all singing like singing to the straw. One goes squish, squish, squish. Why? Why you do this? Why you want everything in the nose? Why? Well, do we want everything in the nose? If I get nasal placement, is that good? Right? Is that good? No, it's not. You'll find that if they do hear you at all, in a big house with a big orchestra, it'll sound real thin. But very often they don't hear you at all. That sound is very deceiving. You can make some good nasal sounds in a room, maybe when you're making a recording, but you get in a big theater, in the back of a theater with somebody singing the note, and you can't hear it. No. So what we want to do is we want to keep finding actions that work for us. So if I make an action up here, it's very, very possible that it will foul my voice. So I go la la la. See, I made an action up there in my throat. La 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 la. What am I going la 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 la? If I go la 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 la, it's another action in the throat that's terrible. Some of these actions are so extreme that people are I don't know what, choking to death on them. And when you don't have to do anything, you really do nothing. So I'll go no action. What kind of reaction do I get? Look at this. Watch my tummy. See? If I go like this, I go there it is. See? This back here opens up when I breathe. So my back closes like this, and it leans the breath up against the front, and all of the action that does not react to my throat is happening down here. I mean, I've known so many singers that did all things all these different ways, and the main consideration was always stay out of your throat. The throat is a tube through which we sing. It is not a set of muscles with which we sing. Anyway, these are very small muscles up here, and they're really not very adequate for maintaining the support of the voice. You really need to get into bigger muscles, and the biggest muscle in your body is the diaphragm. So if you can get sitting down here and open up your back, and your diaphragm does that, and my diaphragm goes down in the back, and you breathe, and I go, and now I'm doing nothing in my throat. Now listen to what happens to the tone if I make an action that does this. That's a tiny, tiny little action right there. See? What about on the other side? Anything I do affects my tone like crazy. It is invariably a worse tone. It is never, because I'd shaped something and did something, it's never a better tone. Right? The way to make the tones better is to breathe and breathe and breathe. Then you have a set of actions, all the reactions to that deep breathing in your lower back, particularly if you pull your belly in and increase your compression and do it. Well, just read the Caruso book about how to breathe. It's very clear. Just breathe way down low. Right? And now, look what I did. The inhalation actually relaxed my throat and pulled my larynx down, and my throat is now vertically open. And now all I have to do is lean the breath on my diaphragm. Bob, ah, right there. Ah, ah, ah. Even a sigh won't go here. Ah, ah. Even sighing reacts in the diaphragm. The whole secret is like Ava Charney would say, if you don't sing here, darlings, you must sing somewhere else. And it's true. Where are the actions in singing? The number one action that used to be, I studied, 65 years ago, right? So even maybe a little more than that to talk about it. But the idea was that I was taught all the time, no action in the throat, no action in the throat, no action in the jaw, no action in the tongue. No, don't pull your tongue back. Leave your tongue like this. Nothing is working up here. Therefore, there's not an action being made when I sing that is reacting in any of the muscles of my throat. We really do have to get this down and understand this, because we can start up at this end and say, I'm going to make a dead zone. All right, I'm asleep. Here we go. Now I made a dead zone. I can't sing if I push the breath up, because I'm not allowed to make an action. So I got to find a way to get the breath to go down. I got to find a way to make a sound. I go, remember I sighed before? Here's a sigh right here behind the sternum. See, there's several sighs you can use, and one is from the navel down, one is sliding back and down the spine. But the main thing by sighing, what I did was I didn't make any action anywhere down there that reacted in my throat. And the idea is you have a reactive throat. You better be careful what kind of actions you make all the time, because they can tie you up in knots. They can even wreck you. They can destroy your voice. See? If I do, which I've demonstrated a few times on tapes, this bowing the neck, like this, listen to what does my voice. All of a sudden my voice is like that. See? All I did was bow my neck forward and lean it over. And is that good or bad that I get a bigger, darker sound? See? It's fooled some of the best singers in history. And they try to do that and they all lost their voices. See? So if I go, what? Shall I try to sing Otello or Meister singer or something now? What shall I try to sing? Right? If I do, let's say Du Walküre. Die Walküre. Ein schwerfälliges will der Vater, ich fänd es in höchster Not. All I did was make an action like this. And listen how it reacted in my throat. I don't believe in action in the throat. But if you make an action in the throat and you like it, that's your problem. Right? I won't say it's just it might make you happy for a while, and then all of a sudden your voice is wrecked and you don't know what happened. Right? Some singers do this. We'll call that the Lampredi school. That's the sty formation. Some people call it the smile across the back of the neck. Caruso told Rosa von Sell to keep a rectangle in the back of her neck on all the time, like that. But I've got to do it. Remember, follow the rule. I've got to do it with no action in the throat. So how do I get my throat to make a shape like that? By breathing, because breathing puts the action way down in the lower body, and this reacts. Somebody go, so, of course the mouth go back. It's like I automatically smile. I do a smiling inhalation. If I'm going to cry, if I want to be sad, I do this one. But I'm still making this shape. See? Everything is free. Everything is loose back there. See? So the whole idea is when you do this sort of thing, you've got to understand that every action, any action, they could call it, any action, causes a reaction. And the question is, where is the reaction? Is it a good one or is it a bad one? Is it one that frees your throat? Is the reaction to your breathing make your throat relax and go like that? Yeah, if I put all the action of breathing way down in my lower back, my throat relaxes. So I sing, you know. Ein Schwert verhieß mir der Vater, ich fand es in höchster Not. Waffenlos fiel ich in Feindes Haus, seine Rache verdrasse ich hier. See? The whole idea is I can do nothing in my throat, and if I do nothing in my throat, then I've got to figure out where can I do something that will support my voice, right? But not exploit my throat muscles, right? How do I do that? See? So the idea is to practice vocalises that cause reactions down here and no action up here. One of the best ones is, if I say all the words like that, I'm going to go downtown and get something to eat. If I want to sing it, I go. But you understand, there's no action in my throat now. I'm blowing air to make my tongue go. That's all. And now, if I start to sing and I maintain that kind of that no action throat, and I go. How do I do that? See? How do I sing really throatless, jawless, and tongueless, which was supposed to be the first rule of bel canto school, and then no change of emission was supposed to be the second rule. So once I do this, the idea is I should find a way to sing whatever my range is and wherever I am. And at my age, I don't really like to sing way up high anymore. But you know, they're there. If I want to go and just concentrate on that, I can. Who knows? We'll never know. I said if I live to be 100, I'm gonna give a concert on my 100th birthday. I can see what it sounds like right now. Mary had a little lamb, who knows? But the idea is, I'm going to go. Whoop. Who's that?
206 201
Phone rings. All right, so anyway, I think I've made my point. Actions are good if I breathe, if I use the action of breathing to expand my lower body, and I go. But I'm not expanding this way. I don't expand independent of breathing. George London used to say that all the time. Nothing moves unless the breathing moves it. So if I want my rib cage to open and move, I have to move it with air. Not like that. If I do that, you're going to hear it's starting to make me sort of sound sort of throaty. So I breathe, big inhalation down, and that moves my ribs open out like this. So remember that the action here is really the inhalation, because the ribs do this as a reaction. Also, the throat relaxes vertically and goes down and opens as a reaction. So get your actions and your reactions straight. If I really breathe like this, and then I sing with no action, what am I doing? La, 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 I'm doing nothing. I'm not covering. The voice passes, but it does it by itself. They used to use that word, you know, in Europe, especially in Italy and France. And the Germans called it overgoing, go over, right? And now in Italy they say girare, turn the voice, which of course sort of defeats the purpose of the past. It means that I'm going to make an action to turn the voice over. La 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 la, and it works, but it causes, it does make an action, and any action is dangerous in that the more you depend on it, the stronger it gets, until finally it might turn into some kind of action that really can damage you. Like, this one might make my voice bigger, and that's what I want, bigger and darker, right? But if I do that, I may pay the price, like Corelli did. That's what Corelli did. Stefano used that beautiful voice, and then when he tried to make it more dramatic, all of a sudden he pressed on it, and then it went haywire. That's a great one for diction, for easy, everything above the staff. And everybody really now, Lampredi's whole concept of the stai sort of took over singing, and people have actually gotten so to prefer it now. And people don't like the sort of vertical phonation that the Garcia school used so much, except in great big dramatic operas, you know. Imagine singing, see? It overwhelms the music. It's too fat, and you know, you want him to sound like a young, a young wild guy who's learning about life. He goes, it needs to make him sound younger. And in my case, that might be a consideration. All right. Thank you very much, and I hope this will give you something to think about. Action, reaction. Every action has an opposite and equal reaction, so watch your actions, okay?